Hi, this is Chris Smith with Local Joe's. At Local Joe's, we help local businesses. Hi, this is Chris Smith with Local Joe's.
This is City Pulse Newsmakers, a weekly look at the issues and the people behind them in Greater Lansing. Brought to you by City Pulse, Lansing's weekly alternative newspaper. And now, here's your host, City Pulse publisher, Burl Schwartz.
Good morning. It's time for our annual Michigan Pride Show, our Gay Pride Show. Before I introduce our guests, though, I want to tell you about what we hope will be a special addition to the Pride activities in Lansing every year. This year, first time ever, City Pulse is presenting the LGBTQ Inclusion Awards, where we will honor half a dozen individuals and 2 businesses and or organizations that we, those of us who participated in the selection committee, and 3 of the members are here with me today, determine were people and organizations that deserve being singled out. We're very fortunate this year that Ingham County Clerk Barb Byram is going to MC the awards event. So if you're interested in coming, you can find out more at lansingcitypulse.com, but it is Friday 7 to 9 p.m. at Spiral Dance Bar. And so you may be seeing the show before that happens. If you see it afterward, well, you missed a great event if you couldn't make it, and thank you for coming if you did. We will announce all the recipients in the August 24th issue of City Pulse. Now to talk to our guests. With us are Ryan Seabolt, who is the one of the chairs this year of Michigan Pride. Welcome, Ryan.
Thank you, Burl. Great to be here.
And Emily Devendorf, who is the new president of LAR, the Lansing Association for Human Rights, and who is has put together the annual rally at the Capitol this year. Welcome back to Emily.
Yes, thank you for having me.
And another first-time guest, Sammy Courtney, who's the manager of a very important institution in the gay community here, which is Spiral Dance Bar. Sammy, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, Ryan, let's start with you. A new location this year for the Michigan Pride Festival. Tell us about that.
Yes, so the festival itself is going to be held in Reotown in South Washington. Michigan Pride actually had a great opportunity to partner with the Reotown Commercial Association, and we've been really happy with the way that partnership has worked out. So this year we're taking the approach that we've got the White Party will be in Old Town, as we have done for many years. We'll have the rally at the Capitol Steps downtown, and then the festival in Reotown. So we're really excited that we're going to be able to feature 3 distinct locations in the city of Lansing. City of Lansing is a very friendly and welcoming city to the LGBTQ community, so we're happy to feature more of the city and kind of show everybody what Lansing has to offer. And
we're a little bit out of chronological order on events because there are things Friday night and then Saturday before the festival. But what time is the festival? So the
festival will kick off at 1. Although we're hoping that a lot of people are still going to be downtown at the rally at the point when the festival officially starts. But at 1 o'clock, gates will open.
And a bit of a walk, but if people want to, it's maybe a 15-minute walk.
Yeah, it's a decent walk, and it's actually really, for people who remember our spot in Old Town, it's actually a slightly shorter walk if you Google map it. So anybody, about a 15-minute walk, and we're also arranging for this year for transportation. So we'll have buses that'll be running from the Capitol down to Reotown for people who don't necessarily want to make the hike to get themselves down there.
So starting at 1 o'clock or whenever people feel like they want to leave the rally at the Capitol, and how late will it go, and what will be going on?
So the buses will be running, I believe, as late as about 2:30, actually, although the Capitol rally should be over by that point. But so starting at about 12:30 to 2:30, you can hop on one of the buses to get down to Reotown. And in Reotown, we've got a great lineup. We're going to have DJs, we'll have live music, we'll have drag performers, and we'll also have comedians. So there'll be a little bit of something for everybody. We've got a lot of great returning vendors this year. We've got food trucks that'll be joining us, and we're hoping to feature some of the Reotown dining establishments. There'll be a spot with arts and crafts for kids, and the Michigan Pride will have its beer tent up and running as well. And so
How late will it go?
Festival gates will close at 10.
At 10.
At 10. So we'll be running from 1 to 10, and then that evening, starting, I believe we have scheduled starting at 8 o'clock that evening. We've also got buses that will be taking people from Reotown back to Old Town if people choose to continue celebrating at our wonderful partner bars in Old Town.
And let's go to Emily now to talk a bit about. One last question: is this going to be right on the main drag, or?
Yeah, it'll be right. We'll be closing off Washington Avenue between Elm and South Street.
Elm and South Street, which that's where is that where BWL is approximately?
BWL is just a little bit south of that.
Okay.
If anybody's familiar with Saddleback Barbecue, they're kind of the southern border of where the festival will be taking place.
Okay, and I know I was down there for that first Friday night arts events. That street is just so pretty now with all the streetscaping. It's going to be interesting to see the event down there. Emily, tell us about the rally at the Capitol.
Yes, the rally at the Capitol is going to be at noon. So as Ryan said, we do expect at the very start of the festival time that people will be wrapping up the rally at the Capitol. We, this year, with the speakers that will be featured at the rally, are really looking at the intersections that we see in the LGBTQ community. I believe it was Audre Lorde that famously noted that none of us live single-issue lives. And this is going to be a very strong reflection of that. We will have LGBT orgs represented. We'll certainly have Michigan Pride represented. We'll have the Lansing Association of Human Rights. Penny Gardner is going to be coming out and giving a speech because this was her last year with the Lansing Association of Human Rights, and she is definitely a force to be reckoned with. And we wanted to hear her give recommendations for the movement. But also we will see leaders from the Latino community. There's a strong young leader from the Latino community, Philip Herrera, who will be speaking. We'll have Black Lives Matter coming to talk about the shared interests, social justice interests of the two communities, and the fact that we have Black members of the LGBTQ community. We are a demographic within every demographic, and our interests are shared with other social justice movements. We'll also have two leaders from the local trans community who have been the most vocal leaders in the state, and that's Zoe Steinfeld and Amanda Niven speaking for the trans community. And we will also have potentially youth organizations, and we have faith organizations represented. We don't know yet the full extent of the faith organizations who will be coming, but it will be a reflection of the complexity of our lives, and also the fact that we have always been active members of our communities, and the needs of our community at large, the greater community. They're complex, but they're also doable.
Now, this is an election year, and typically you do have people running for office. Ryan happens to be running for the county commission.
I believe Ryan has secured that seat at this point, but wow. we will have Representative John Hoadley, who is one of our out and proud state representatives, but has also been a leader in the LGBT community for years, has introduced really essential legislation for a lot of the issues that are affecting our nation today. I believe gun control legislation, but also he's making sure to put LGBT issues on the map and a part of the discussion at the state capitol, which is why we need out and proud elected officials in decision-making positions. So he will be there to talk about his experience thus far, and also the priorities in Michigan, as we are one of the states that is still the most behind on LGBT rights, unfortunately. There's much work left to do.
Did the annual invitation to the governor go out this year? I mean, why bother? But
he always knows that he's welcome, as is the mayor. I'm sure we expect to see the mayor. We expect to see you, Verge. We don't expect Governor Snyder to show up, but hey, surprise us.
Yeah.
But surprise us and show you're on our side for once. That would be lovely.
We'll talk more about that. Sammy, you're the manager of Spiral Dance Bar. A lot of events going on there. We've already mentioned the Inclusion Awards, which you are nice enough to host in the big tent you're putting up. But tell us what's going on at Spiral.
We're really excited for everything that's going on. The Inclusion Awards is a really cool thing, but we're doing our first annual Kids Day event. We're super excited about that. That's Friday to kick off the White Party. That's an event for LGBT parents with kids or parents with LGBT youth and allies. I mean, it's for everybody. It's a free thing. We actually just bought 144 backpacks and school supplies today to give away to kids in need. But there'll be free hot dogs, a bounce house, dunk tanks, just games and food for everybody. So, we're just really excited to just do kind of a family-oriented event. And that is
Friday,
that's
the
Friday,
26th.
Yes.
And what time?
From 4 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Okay.
And then we have your guys' Inclusion Awards, which is going to be super exciting. I love food and drink and good company, and it sounds like it's going to be lots of that. And then the White Party kicks off, which is, to help Michigan Pride and just to have a great time. So, we'll be raising money for a good cause and going bananas. We're going to add even more UV, so everyone should be just glowing off the map this year. We've expanded the tent to a 40 by 80 this year, which is twice the size if you were there last year that we had. More DJs, more entertainment, more food. So we're really excited for that. And then, the after party on Saturday will be another great event, just featuring great entertainers and like a nice, fun, inclusive environment. So I'm excited for the weekend.
That's great. And Ryan, as you mentioned, there will be shuttles from the Capitol from the rally to to Rio Town. What about to Old Town? Are you going to be able to do that as well?
Yes, we will have shuttles starting at 8 o'clock in the evening that will be able to take people from Rio Town up to Old Town as well.
On Saturday.
On Saturday.
That's great. Well, and I want to mention that the White Party, of course, I assume the Esquire and Sir Pizza in Old Town will also participate.
Yes, Esquire and Old Town are also participating along with Spiral in the White Party celebrations Friday night.
So anywhere you pick up a wristband, you'll be able to go to the other places, and it all will benefit the Michigan Pride. Yep. So Ryan, I want to talk to you now about something, this Michigan Pride, once upon a time, it was a huge event statewide, and this year, as is typical of what we've seen, it's not as big. Certainly people from all over the state are welcome. There's no parade this year, for example. But how have things changed, and is there a positive way of looking at why things have changed?
Things have changed, I think, for not just for Michigan Pride, but for Pride events across the state and across the country, just because with the issues facing the LGBT community are changing and growing. Pride started out really, honestly, as an act of defiance to begin with, and since then has changed to be a call for action, and now Pride is by and large, I think, a lot of times a celebration of the achievements we've made, but there's obviously still a lot of work to be done, as Emily mentioned, and so I think it's kind of reshifting what is the focus of Pride and what does the community need Pride to be. So I think the board is trying to figure that out, and we've scaled some stuff back, and in years past we've expanded and then had to scale back at other times. So I think it's really just trying to find what's the right fit for the community and make sure that Michigan Pride is what the community needs it to be.
Well, and I think community is an important word there, because I think what I was getting at and saying is there's something positive here is what we are seeing now is so many communities have Pride events, and that's a big, important step forward, that people are out in smaller communities all over the state, and hence less need to come to Lansing.
Right, yeah, so Michigan Pride used to be the Pride in the state of Michigan.
Here or Detroit.
Yeah. And now there are Pride events that go on in the UP now. And Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, all these different cities, and across the summer, really too. We see Pride events. I think the one in the UP actually they wait until after school starts at the university up there, so they're into September. So we see Pride has really just become like a summer-long celebration rather than just a June celebration, and that's honestly a good thing. You know, it means that our community is visible and active in every corner of the state, and couldn't be happier about that.
Yeah, so obviously I'd rather be growing up gay today than when I did in the dark ages, but not everything is wonderful. And Emily, help us with some of the issues that remain both in Lansing and the state and across the country.
Yeah, and because we do have challenges still, I feel it's absolutely essential, as important as it has ever been, that we have Pride celebrations and that we show our individual communities' commitment to LGBT rights, but also Pride is a different celebration than a lot of celebrations, just like our marches and parades are different than a lot of other marches and parades, and that the importance and value to our community isn't who shows up and comes out to watch us, but that we are out and proud and visible and saying we are going to claim our place in this world and be comfortable with who we are and celebrate ourselves. So we need to gather to support each other as a community, but also to continue the call to action. In Michigan, we can still be fired legally and denied housing for being LGBTQ. And if we're just perceived to be LGBTQ, it's perfectly legal to be fired or denied housing still. But beyond that, we still have other challenges. That in Michigan, our legislature is trying to write in ways that they can discriminate in adoption still. They're still trying to look at ways that religious exemptions can be used to justify and legalize discrimination against us. And of course, we know it's already legal, but it would be codified in our law if our more conservative leaders got what they wanted in Michigan. But also we are still fighting for basic access to health care because of potential for discrimination. We're still trying to get recognized that HIV is something that is used against our HIV positive citizens in a court of law and in terms of targeting them as victims. So we have a long way to go when it comes to what we know to be equality under the law, and that's going to take policy change from now to probably decades to come, which means we can't drop that battle. But people need to know that there's still a battle to fight, and that is one of the greatest benefits of a Pride and a rally celebration is we have all of our community, as much of our community as possible, together at one time, and that is our time to tell people how and what to fight for.
I think one of the interesting weather vanes politically is State Senator Rick Jones. And he is not. You would not have considered him a friend, but just recently he announced he is sponsoring legislation to include the LBGT community in the hate crimes statute. Whether that will go anywhere, of course, is a big question because he cannot get it passed alone. But what are some other concrete things that you'd like to see done?
Well, I think it's great that you bring up amending our Ethnic Intimidation Act in particular, because it is wonderful to see Republicans wanting to get behind adding LGBT people as a protected class under our Ethnic Intimidation Act. Trans women of color are still still one of the main groups disproportionately targeted for hate and violence based on bias. But that particular issue and Rick Jones' interest in it is another thing that we need to take note of, because in addition to adding LGBT people as protected classes, he also has an idea to add uniformed officers as a protected class, which I've actually spoken to national organizations, the GLAAD, which does legal representation of the LGBT community, about how viable that is, but also how harmful that might be to our effort, because uniformed officers don't actually qualify as a class of people that has a historical trend of being disproportionately biased or have
singled
attacks.
out.
Yeah, singled out, and that is required for a Hate Crimes Act and for protection under a Hate Crimes Act. And also there are already protections in place and increased penalties for harming a police officer. And it is a a trend. It is an uptick in violence we're noticing against police officers, but it doesn't stand up to the argument that police officers are disproportionately affected when you look at the actual
politically,
statistics.
it may be what wins the day for you.
Well, that's what is unfortunate and also dangerous, is that in Michigan right now, it's being presented that we shouldn't or can't get our basic rights and protection unless we make deals that don't actually make sense legislatively and that don't fit actual legal definitions for what they're claiming they fit. So it's going to be a tricky situation, because we should not water down hate crimes legislation in order to make sure that we do get our classes protected, because that does weaken it overall in a way. We're going to need to, in these times, figure out a way to navigate those waters where people are trying to say we don't get what we need and what are the most basic protections unless we claim that there are problems that
Brian, you
there
have any
aren't
thoughts on
actually.
this one?
I wasn't going to weigh necessarily specifically on the hate crimes law, but just in terms of other things legislatively that needs to be done. You know, there are things that need to be done legislatively, from as small as making changes to hundreds of laws at this point to make marriage references gender neutral, to reflect the Supreme Court ruling, all the way up to amending Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act. We still have work that needs to be done on gender markers, making it easier for our people of the transgender community to change their gender markers on their official identification cards and on their birth certificates. There's a long list of things that need to be done legislatively, especially Elliott Larson, because now we have a patchwork across the state. I think we have 40 cities, Lansing being one of them, that do include the LGBT community in their non-discrimination ordinances, but we really now need a statewide ordinance. And so that's a big issue. So there's all sorts of things that need to be worked on legislatively, and some of them are really simple fixes, and the legislature should be more willing to address these fixes than they seem to
I
be.
want to talk to Sammy too. Now, Sammy, you're a straight man running a gay bar, an important institution in the gay community, but I don't know that a lot of people know your personal history. Do you mind sharing your upbringing?
No, so I was born in '74, conceived in a tree house in California, and my mom hitchhiked and found out she was pregnant in Iowa. When I was 4 years old, she came out to me and told me, "Don't tell anyone, because they'll take you away." So, I lived with that, and it was like a scary thing, and then it was an angry thing, and I've never seen my father either. So I've been raised by women my entire life. Pretty much all the elder lesbians in here, like Carolyn, like Roxanne, Terry Moniz, just a lot of women in the community. So I grew up through that. I was really angry in high school, and I started fighting people because they were picking on me for having a lesbian mom. But then, it opened my eyes, and I've been able to, be with everybody, and it's like a great thing. It's better than, having this typical, Christian, closed-minded, Christian might not be wrong, but just a closed-minded background about what people are. So, I was collating for the Lesbian Alliance when I was 6 and helping my mom's partner make banners for the Lesbian Avengers when I was 16. So I've been doing stuff in the community my whole life.
And, Spiral, of course, it's a business, but you bring to it a personal link to the gay community that, and we can see you do much more than just make money off the gay community. I wanted to ask you, though, what you're seeing now in younger people. Once upon a time, I would have been scared to death to go into a gay bar before I was out, but now it seems like if anything, gay people feel like any bar they go to becomes a gay bar. And are you seeing a changing youth?
What I'm seeing is a lot of, it's not has anything to do with society so much as like the youth groups. They're not worried about their gay friend, they're worried about other things. And when I've seen a big change, that used to be like, John, the gay teacher, and now it's John, the teacher that's gay in these younger classes. And I feel like, because I've DJ'd all over the city. I've been a DJ for about 20 years, and I remember starting to see, like in the last 4 years, oh yeah, I DJ at Spiral, and I see you there all the time, and you're at Rick's, and you're at Dublin, and all over the place, you know, and Zuby's is super welcoming for folks, and you're not, I definitely think in Lansing, people are more interested in having a good, thriving business than being, you know, particular about who comes in. I mean, I've seen guys kissing Rick's, and I don't think I've ever, you know, it could be some frat guys broing out, I'm not sure, but that's something I wouldn't have seen in Rick's 7, 8 years ago. And so I see that, you know, there's more welcoming to the community all over the city. But what I also see is that the business model for a lot of gay institutions was based on intolerance and exclusion. So there wasn't, the advertising was different. The way you brought clients to your business was different. And now that there's that change, you need to welcome people that would be allies to that community. And unfortunately, that, I don't know if you guys are old enough, but the police academy, gay bar, that, you know, they'd fall into, and it's guys in leather, and it's this crazy thing, is what a lot of straight people still think they're going to walk into in a gay bar. Mm-hmm. So when I bring friends out, or, you know, people come, they're like, oh, wow, this is not, you know, it's like, no, no one's, I mean, there's places like that, but I was like, this is generally just a fun, safe, and inclusive place. And if you want to just be yourself, then, you know, that's what we're trying to be.
All right, I want to give a quick recap of the events for Gay Pride. First of all, on Friday, starting at 4 p.m.,
yes, sir.
A special children's activities program at Spiral in Old Town. That goes to 8 p.m. Meanwhile, at 7 p.m., we'll have a cocktail party before the 8 p.m. awards ceremony for the first ever LGBTQ, Q stands for questioning, by the way, award ceremony at the big tent this year at Spiral. And then on Saturday, the rally at the Capitol begins at noon. That's Saturday, August 27th. So even if you're seeing the show on Saturday morning, August 27th, you can come down and catch that. And then there will be a shuttle running till 2:30 p.m. from the Capitol to Rio Town, where the annual festival will be, and it'll be on until 10 p.m., but then there will be a shuttle from Rio Town over to Old Town for people who want to come by. And I almost forgot, on Friday night is the big white party at Spiral, at Esquire, at Sir Pizza, all in Old Town. So you can find out more about the Inclusion Awards at LansingCityPulse.com. Keep in mind that if you come to the Inclusion Awards, you will get your wristband to get into Spiral that night, and that's going to pay for half of the ticket right there if you buy your ticket in advance online. I think I got most of it. I want to thank you all. Ryan, congratulations on getting us at least to another festival. Emily, good to see you. Looking forward to working with you some more as City Pulse continues to print the LAR newsletter. It will be in the August 24th issue. Sammy, as always, it's a pleasure to see you. Sammy Courtney from Spiral Dance Bar. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.